Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm very excited to go over the brand new DocuSign integration from Gavel. So if you go over to your account and go over to integrations, you're going to be able to see where you can link this down here under Clio Manage where it says DocuSign. So you can just go ahead and say link account. In my case, I am signed into my demonstration version of this. So I just have demo@cormam.pro and it doesn't have any real data in here. So because I'm already signed in this browser, it's saying that Gavel is requesting access and then I can say allow access and it's going to link to this account that I'm already signed into. If you aren't already signed into a DocuSign account, it's just going to ask for your email and for you to log in from here. So I'm going to go ahead and say allow access and that's going to integrate these two things together. So now, just like that, I am linked to my DocuSign account. This makes it to where I'm now able to go over to my workflows and create a new workflow, let's say from scratch if we're not going to use Blueprint right now. I'm just going to call this test and DocuSign and then say create. From here, we're going to be taken straight over to our editor view where we can add different blocks, where we can ask for different pieces of information. And when we add a question, we'll be able to see our options here. Now here is where we're going to want to put our different questions, such as what's the client's name or whomever's name, and also to make it to where we have an email address for who we want to send this to, and so on. So in our particular case, we're just doing a very simple test of how to actually do this. So we're just going to ask for a couple of questions about two different people. We're just going to have the contact or the client and then the attorney. So in my case, I'm just going to make this, instead of new page, I'm going to call this contacts information. And then I'm going to have a text question type that asks for what is, let's say this is, we're going to have this be from like the attorney's perspective running this. And I'm going to say what is the client's, let's say, full name. I'm going to say contact full name, and then let's go ahead and duplicate this and ask for what is the client's email address. And then let's say contact email, and then let's make this an email question type. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this, and then I'm going to say attorney's information. And then we're going to say what is the attorney's name. And then here we can say attorney full name. And then you can actually have, if you have, let's say, a drop down menu where you have different options or a single select or something like that, you can use that instead. In this case, maybe let's do a drop down. I'm going to say Brittany Hernandez, and then let's say Demetria demonstration. And in these cases, I'm going to actually have it to where the attorney's email address is going to be done with invisible logic. So I'm going to create a new page, add question, invisible logic. I'm going to have this one be attorney email. And I'm going to add some logic that says, if attorney's full name is Brittany, then I want attorney's email to equal, and then we'll make this one demo@cormam.pro, and then otherwise, if attorney's full name is Demetria Demonstration, then I want the attorney email to equal demibdemo@gmail.com. That way, from this one variable, I'm able to have logic attached to the different email addresses. So I'm just going to rename this really quickly and let's go ahead and save this. Now before we move on, I think it would be helpful to go over two articles that are from the Gavel Learning Center, which you can get to by going to gavel.io, going under resources, and then saying Learning Center. Once you're over at the Learning Center, you're going to be able to search for DocuSign, where you're going to be able to get some help guides around how to connect your DocuSign account to Gavel, how to tag your templates for DocuSign, and how to set up your output documents for DocuSign. Now, these are different in that you need to do kind of two steps here. Well, let's say three. So the first is going to be that you need to create your workflow so you can see what questions you need and so on. The next is that you're going to need to attach your Word document that you set up before you try to tag any of the actual DocuSign elements. You want to, go through, tag it the way that you would for all of your other variables that you want to use. But first, you're going to need to, once you're done with that, attach that document to this workflow so that when you go back into the template, you'll be able to have the DocuSign options available. Now, this is going to make sense once we actually kind of walk through it together. So I'm just going to go through and go into my document here and just kind of update this a little bit. And all I'm really doing here is I have my document tagger, the Word add-in that I've signed into. I'm just searching for my workflow that we're working on right now. That way I'll be able to see the simple variables, for example, and I can add any conditional logic around phrases or paragraphs, do any date calculations, and so on. But you can see that signatures we can't click on it, and that's because we need to actually attach this document to the Output Documents tab first before we can have it enabled, because we need to enable that where it says DocuSign signatures. So in my case, what I really want to do right now is actually just put in a couple of the variables and format them. So in my case, for example, I'm going to put contact full name and I'm going to make that uppercase. I'm just going to insert that here. And then I want to have this one be the attorney's name. So I'm going to put attorney's full name, and then I'm going to do uppercase as well. And then I'm also going to just add it here, but standard. And actually I need to put that somewhere else down here. And then we'll do that for the client's name here. And then we can go through and change this just a little bit to turn this into something that has no borders. And then I'm just going to add a top border for this particular one so that looks like a signature line. Same thing here. I'm going to say no border, and then I'm just going to add a top border to this one. And for if you want to do this as well and follow along, the way that you can get these like little lines around when you have something that is technically invisible is to turn on or turn off view grid lines. So now we can see that this is set up to have the contact's full name appear here, their full name appear underneath here, the upper for the attorney's name, and the kind of standard format for the attorney's name here. So this, like I said, is just really basic because I just want to see like in practice how the DocuSign integration works with Gavel. So now that we have this set up with a few different variables, and if we wanted to put maybe their email address underneath here as well, you can. But this one, we're just going to keep it pretty simple. Now I can drag this and drop it over into here if I'd like to, and that's going to automatically load this document into this section here. And then I can rename it if I want to, and I can put in different variables. So I can say something like, let's put in, what was it, contact, and then underscore full name, and then we can say their engagement agreement, our very basic engagement agreement that we have here. And so I can now that I have this document here, I can say send documents for DocuSign signature. Now here I can also make it to where I can choose, if I had multiple documents, which documents or document or multiple that I want to have sent for signature. In this case, I just want to have this one here. And then if we wanted to, we could also have file uploads as attachments if we had a file upload question as part of our workflow. So next we can see we have to add some recipients and then set which order you want them to be done in. So if you want the attorney in this case to sign first, then the client, or vice versa, then you can do that. So here we're going to say add recipient, and then we can either type a name if it's always going to be the same, Or we can, so if we wanted to just type one in, or we can choose the first recipient. So let's see, in this case, we want the client to sign first. We can say contact full name, and then if we want to add in their email, we can add in their email here, and then we can choose their role from here. So we can say needs to sign, receives a copy, needs to view, specify recipients are allowed to edit, and then you can see all of the definitions if you click here. So if you're a little bit confused about what these different roles are, you'll be able to kind of view those here. In this particular case, we need them to sign. So let's add another recipient, and in this case, it's going to be the attorney's name and the attorney's email, and we need them to sign as well. And then you can add any other pieces to this like you would normally, which is send a finalized document to an email address, do not display the finalized document to the workload taker, create conditional output documents, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and save this, and now we're not quite done yet because we need to add in what are called the DocuSign anchors. So if we refer back to the Learning Center article, we'll see that now that we've connected our Gavel and DocuSign accounts and we've set up our output documents to DocuSign within the actual output documents tab here, now we're ready to tag our templates with these DocuSign anchors. So this allows us to ensure that the documents sent to DocuSign will have a signature, date, or initials in the correct places. So we're going to be able to tag our documents using the Word add-in. So if we go ahead and open this back up and we go back into our Word add-in, we're going to be able to go back into the workflow we were working on. And now that we have this set up back on this back end, we can see signatures is now available to click on. Once we do, we'll be able to see DocuSign field, and then we can say for recipient 1 or 2 and how we want that formatted, such as a signature, a date, initial, approval, etc. So in this particular case, I want the contact's signature to go here, so I can say insert, and that's going to generate that for us. And then we want to go to the second recipient, format this as a signature as well, have our cursor where we want that to go, and we can insert that here as well. So now the last piece we want to go through here is to replace our document in Gavel. So you just choose it from the list, say update in Gavel. Once that's done, you're good to go here. Now, since we're just playing with this and just trying to test it out, you can play with some of these other features as well to just kind of see what they would look like. So for example, for recipient 1, we could add in their date. We could add in, let's say, a section for the other option. So in this case, initial. We can add in also the approval, etc., etc. So you can just see what you want to add in for each of these and see how they come out like this. Or you can just keep it nice and clean for what exactly you need. So in this case, we just needed their full name here, and we just needed their signature, etc. So we've already had this one replaced, and it's good to go. So let's go ahead and test it out. So we've got everything set up based on these two help articles. We have our DocuSign account all set up. We're going to go ahead and stay logged in here so that we can run through this particular one. If you wanted to update all of your settings as well, you can, but for this particular demonstration, let's just give it a once through test. So let's say that the client's full name is going to be, let's do demo, and let's make the email address demo@gmail.com. And we're going to make it to where the attorney's name is Brittany Hernandez, and we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and continue once more. And it says here are your documents. One document is ready to sign. When all signatures are complete, all parties will be notified via email. We can also see the output document here. which you'll notice is not signed because it needs to be sent for signature. So right now, this particular one is just giving you the empty version, but still has the variables that we've put in. It just is waiting for the signatures for execution. So we can say submit for signing. And then once we have that submitted, we'll be able to go through and see the emails that were sent. So we had it in order that the client would complete the signature first. So we do see that here. So I'm signed in as the, in this case, demonstration client. So I can see that it has Chromium demo via DocuSign. So complete with DocuSign one documents from Chromium. And then we can review, it says Chromium demo sent you a document to review and sign. This information is getting pulled from your DocuSign account. So I have my name set up as Chromium demo, and this is my email. It says, please DocuSign demos engagement agreement. Thank you, Chromium. And then we can just say review document. And by the way, you're able to update the wording of the email that's sent by going over to settings, customize messages, and email. And under email, you're going to see the DocuSign email template here. So you can see where you're able to go through and change different pieces. So if you wanted to change this to please sign this or whatever else, you're welcome to do that. So in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and continue as this fake client here. And you can see that it's asking the signature here, which is where our demos client is actually supposed to sign. So they can select one of these, they can draw, or they can upload. I'm going to adopt and sign with this one. And if I'm all good, I'm ready to finish. So I can say finish. So I can go ahead and see that that's already done by my client side now. The client will see this start sending and signing today when it comes to blah, blah, blah. So they're all done. They're good to go. So they're going to be able to see that now theirs is done. And we have the DocuSign now going over to the attorney in this particular case because I set up the email for Brittany Hernandez as the attorney to my demo at chromium.pro email. So here I can see that demo viewed the particular document that I sent, and I can see that they've also now completed it. So I need to go ahead and complete this because our client has already gone through and signed for us. So now we're going to go ahead and do our signature. We can see that it is in the right position. I can use the saved one I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and say use the saved one. And that's inserted for me. And then I can say finish. So now that we are finished, we'll be able to see completed, complete with DocuSign one documents from Chromium. So I can see view the completed document. I can go ahead and sign in. So in this case, it's going to be demo at chromium.pro. And now we're going to be able to go ahead and enter our password. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. And here we can see our completed document that has been signed by all parties. We have our envelope ID. We can go ahead and print this. We can download this and so on. We can do other actions here, as you can see. And we can see our thumbnails if there were multiple pages over here. The client will also receive an email here that says that the document was completed, and they can view the completed document here as well. So that is a run through of the brand new feature from Gavel with the DocuSign integration. I think it works great. It's really easy to kind of set this up. You just have to go through the steps kind of in order so you're able to actually take advantage of the word add-in when submitting these and kind of putting in each of these different pieces. So here now you can see in your DocuSign account that one of these has been completed. I believe if you're on the free plan, you get 3 per month. But if you have a paid plan, of course, you're going to have different limits there. So I hope it was useful to walk through how to kind of go through and utilize this brand new feature. It's super exciting because DocuSign has been one of the most requested features for a while. So the team was able to push this out for us, and it's super easy to use. So make sure that you review the help guides from the Learning Center so you can make sure you have all the steps in order. You can rewatch this video. Completely up to you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at Brittany@Commam.pro. I hope this is useful, and I'll see you in the next video.